Hello, this is Pastor Rick, and I want to welcome you to the Sunday Forum in preparation for this Sunday, March the 5th. We're lifting up the topic of ministry excellence, and that's part of our campaign here at Emmanuel. We're excited about various dimensions of what it means, right, to stress, to support financially and other means ministry excellence here at Emmanuel. And of course, as always, we're talking about one church, multiple communities. So how do we maintain that excellence across the board? Now we're going to lift up children's ministries this morning, and we're doing that because, let's be honest, if you go to the 9 o'clock or the 11 o'clock service and none of the other services, the Latino service, the Alive service, are out at the park, you might not see many young people, let alone kids. It's like they're hidden. In fact, many people talk to me, where are the young families? Where are the kids? Well, this last weekend, we were out at our family retreat in Lithia, just outside of Tampa. And we had 98 people there, about 50 adults, a little less than 45 children. And it was a big gathering, and it highlights the strength of our family ministry. So we want to show you the good time that we had out at this Presbyterian park. And all the time, think, now this is where we want to go as a church. This is what we want to support as a congregation. One church, many ministries, but all of us working together to lift up families and youth. And so last Friday, we all drove out here to the park. It's a long tradition. In fact, one couple was there, and they have been out at this family retreat. I think they said this was their 14th year in a row. But others, brand new. They hear about it here at Emmanuel during the worship services. They want to take part. Others have been there 5, 6, 7 years. So this retreat, this family retreat, has a long tradition here at Emmanuel. So you drive up, it's about 2.5 hours, right outside of Tampa, like I said. And we gather in the evening after dinner, and the fire is blazing, and all the families are greeting one another. It's just an electric feel. There are games outside, whether it's ping pong or basketball or whatever it might be. All the young people are gathering because they're also reconnecting as well. After the opening session where we gather people late at night, it's about 8 o'clock when we gather. Everyone goes to bed. You can imagine kids are running through all the rooms. They're excited, but the parents are excited as well. The theme for this year's family retreat was Thy Kingdom Come, taken from the Lord's Prayer. In fact, we talked a lot about the Lord's Prayer, how parents should be not just praying it on a daily basis, get that, not just in church, but praying the Lord's Prayer on a daily basis, but also teaching their children how to pray as well. Prayer in general, but also the Lord's Prayer. And so we work through that prayer step by step, lifting up the spiritual importance for families of using this prayer for the kingdom to really shape and mold their spiritual life as a family together. I mean, how do families have devotions together? How can parents take their responsibilities to teach their children how to pray, the 10 Commandments, the Lord's Prayer, and other things? That's what we ask parents to promise at the baptismal font. And so now, as a church, we're trying to help parents fulfill that responsibility. Saturday morning, it's family time, and you're going to see pictures here of families doing all sorts of things. They're canoeing, they're playing soccer, there's a zip line, there's archery. And some families just wanted to sleep in, right? Everybody's tired, everyone's stressed out, and so this gives people an opportunity as a family just to gather and in a relaxed environment. So Saturday morning, completely dedicated to the family. And then in the afternoon, we separate up. We have different youth groups and children's group who do their own activities. And for the adults, that's where we talked about the Lord's Prayer. Not just how to use the prayer, but we went through each of the 7 petitions in Matthew's Gospel, picking up how important it is to lift up this topic of the kingdom of God in our lives. There was then the big soccer game on Saturday afternoon. We divided up, and boy, young and old, and sometimes really old, played soccer together. Of course, the kids love it that they're playing with their moms and dads, and sometimes with their grandparents. And of course, we prayed beforehand and after, God preserve everyone, that no one gets hurt, right? Then in the evening, we have our last session. It was a beautiful session because it's at night and everyone's making s'mores, you know, the fire is blazing. And there's just a wonderful atmosphere of singing spiritual songs, of playing various games, and then, of course, doing one last session on the Lord's Prayer. On Sunday morning, of course, we're all eating together. All the meals are together, and we're such a large group here at Emmanuel that we have to take the cafeteria on the first floor and on the bottom floor, which is nice. Again, we've got 98 people there. Afterwards, we had a worship service, and we go in the woods. It's just a wonderful open-air worship service. And after just a few days together, there's just this wonderful bond that people give. It's a mountaintop experience, like we talk about in church, knowing that when you go back home, you got to go back down into the valley. And so how do you make that transition as a family from a mountaintop experience to something where you can bring your insights into daily life? But this retreat was special because after the service, we went down to the river because one of the young women who's been coming there, I think it's her third time at the family retreat, requested from her mother at Christmas that she wanted to be baptized. And so her mother then made that request, and her daughter Camilla said, I want to be baptized at the family retreat because that's become a very special place for her. So after the service, we all went down to the river, as you will see here, and Pastor Jose took her down to the river, I might say that very cold river, and we baptized as everybody in the worship service, everybody at the retreat stood on the banks and clapped and encouraged and prayed for her that this would really be a special moment in her life. Now, the family retreat is, I think, one of the best events we hold here at Emmanuel because it's done bilingually in both Spanish and English, and so everybody feels welcome. There's just a special spirit about it. But think now, family retreat, when you read the prospectus from the campaign that you'll be receiving in the next couple of weeks. Because when we say we want to maintain and sustain ministry excellence, there are many things we're talking about. Our worship services, our technology, our preaching, obviously, our outreach in the community. And this is one of the most important ministries we have to sustain and further and grow, reaching out to young families here in the Naples area. And so pray for sustaining our ministry, for our campaign, but always think it's about family ministry, and this family retreat is one of the most important things that we do in lifting up and promoting the spirituality of our young families. Thanks for joining us on the Sunday Forum. Bye-bye now.